Atheist Nomads episode 420.
Want to get high?
Apologetics, missions, and evangelism.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin, and joining me is Lauren.
Hello.
Who is apparently disappointed that we aren't talking about marijuana.
Okay, 420, high joke, something. Want to get, I did this howly. Want to get high? And he's like, no, shut that right down.
Not in the title. You can do it now. All right, then let's...
Getting high with apologetics. High times with evangelism.
All right.
There's.
Uh-huh.
If not, you introduce it as 420. So there's no doubt.
I have no issue with marijuana. I support marijuana legalization.
Here first, folks. Atheist Nomad supports marijuana legalization on 420.
There was a story recently in the news about, by recently, like in the last 6 months, about cannabis residues being found in caves around Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were dug up.
Nice.
And
well, you know, everybody writing that stuff was high as fuck.
High or ill or ill or people were not healthy back then.
Our headline is Atheist Nomad's co-host blatantly pandering to the high crowd.
All right, so let's talk about apologetics, mission work, and evangelism.
Yeah.
Those are terms that can be conflated.
Okay.
They can overlap, but they are distinct concepts.
Yeah. Distinct dictionary terms would be appreciated because I oftentimes, especially with apologetics, is treated as a completely separate thing, but I don't really know exactly what the definition of that is.
So apologetics literally means a defense, like a logical defense.
Okay, because it's usually referred to in almost a debate style.
Yeah, and it is. Its primary focus is on arguing in favor of either trying to defend your beliefs, often even just belief.
Okay.
Obviously, it would vary. The apologetic tactic would vary based on the difference in beliefs between the apologetic.
Right, arguing with an atheist is way different than arguing with a fellow Christian of a different denomination.
Yeah. Apologetics tends to try to employ logical arguments. They often will try to call out logical fallacies.
Which means nothing to you if you never took debate. If you did take debate, you better be prepared.
Right.
Because holy shit, they will come after you and they will not stop. I hate apologetics.
And they will argue. Matt Slick, for example, is a local pastor and apologist who has had radio programs and is a general, complete and utter piece of shit, who periodically will go to the various atheist groups' meetings to argue with people.
Just to argue with people. He loves it. He gets off on it.
Yeah.
And what started this was that I pulled out a bunch of childhood books of Dustin's. We had a big box of books that were off of his old bookcase. Some were his, some were his siblings. But
some I'd never seen before.
Some you'd never seen before, but somehow they ended up in our garage and I was downgrading totes. So I pulled one out, and it's The Evidence Against Evolution by
William Gish.
And Dustin brought up the Gish-Gallup, which is an apologetic...
It's an informal logical fallacy.
It's a logical fallacy that was actually named after the guy.
Right, because
his so bad.
His strategy is just make points. Don't back up anything, just make points.
He was like a bullet list.
And you just make as many assertions as you can.
Until somebody shuts you down.
So that your opponent cannot possibly respond to everything that you say.
Yeah, they're so busy scribbling down what you just mentioned that they can't possibly actually give a rebuff. Therefore, they lost the argument. Therefore, he wins.
Yeah.
It must have worked well for his ego.
He, obviously having written a book called Evidence Against evolution. The creationist classes that I had in school, both in middle school and at the graduate level.
Yeah.
And yes, at the seminary, I had a graduate level course on creationism. It's called Issues and Origins, and the basic premise was present a watered down version of evolution and tear it apart.
Okay.
Just throw arguments at it.
So exactly what this guy does.
Yep. The middle school, Adventist middle school science class on creationism never explained what evolution was, just threw out arguments against it.
That's smart.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my 7th grade public school teacher, science teacher, who brings up creationism and says, well, creationism is the only one that really actually makes sense. Evolution just doesn't, it just can't, I have to introduce this stuff because they're making me, but evolution basically doesn't work out. Creationism is the only one that really kind of makes sense. And then there's these couple other theories that nobody actually pays any attention to. And I'm just like, what? You can't say that. But you can. And he did.
All right. So
Never
evangelism.
actually taught what it was.
Right.
That came later.
Yeah. Evangelism is a very different tactic that the focus is on. It literally comes from it literally comes from Greek meaning good word or good news.
Have you heard the good news?
The Gospels have at times been known as the evangelists. And then there are now modern evangelists who try to spread the good news of Jesus. That is a tactic that works well with backslidden Christians.
Oh, yeah.
People who still believe, but don't go to church.
Yeah.
And feel like they're living a life of sin. Having somebody come in to do a revival or...
So it sounds more like you got apologetics as a defense. Evangelism is the offense, where they're coming to you to convince you to believe in something. While apologetics is more...
No, the offense is the next one.
Oh, the missionary work.
Yeah, evangelism would also be a part of the defense in trying to keep Christians in the greater Christian fold.
Okay.
Not let them escape that.
Yeah.
Mission work is where, at least in modern times, actually, no, I'm not even going to say that. In all of history where it has been done, with few exceptions, it has been inherently imperialistic in nature, where you are not just exporting religion, but you're exporting culture and influence. It is...
Mission has never been good.
No.
Most atheists would probably agree that missionary work has always been bad and resulted in badness.
Depending on the type of mission work that's going on, because in modern times, it's not worth focusing on the old ones, or at least this particular discussion. Modern mission work is often, if not usually, tied with some other work.
True. There's a lot of charity that goes on with mission work. I have an aunt who goes to, bumfuck nowhere to go do dental work, which, if you are in a poor country or in a poor area of a country and you don't get dental work, that's a life-saving endeavor to have somebody come in and do dental work. But every single one of those kids leaves a, Praise Jesus coloring book, and there's the local service that you kind of have to sort of go to if you want to have said dental work.
It's usually tied with an evangelistic series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which you taught.
Which I did 4 out of the 27 presentations out of one.
All right. 4 out of 27?
Yeah.
Dodge that bullet.
Yep.
Jesus. I mean, no offense, but Jesus.
It's
a lot of bullshit.
But so you get a lot that are like, it's the like medical missionary work. Dental missions would be another example like that. There is a lot of current mission work that a lot of groups are doing are language schools. So they set up a English language ESL program, often sending college students to go be the teachers in the Czech Republic or in Kazakhstan or Korea or Thailand, all over the place. And the goal of these students, because they're usually there, or the missionaries, they're usually there long term, is to integrate in with the students, build friendships, and gradually work in the conversion.
Now, is this all ESL programs, or is this a specific ESL program that these churches are doing?
It is a lot of the ESL programs out there. Not all ESL programs, but it's way more than one.
Yikes.
Yeah. One of the most well-known types of mission work is the mission trip, which is a particularly evangelical thing to do, where either spring break or during the summer, a bunch of people from a church all get together and go with the pastor to some place with brown or black people to build churches, literally to build a church building and preach to bring converts to that building.
Right. Everybody in the church who goes gets to feel like they're saving the world.
Uh-huh.
What do they call that? White angel syndrome or something?
Yeah.
And then, they also get to spread the good word.
And then there are also cases where mission work is tied in with education. Adventists do this a lot, especially on the Pacific Islands, where they have schools set up that basically all the rich people and government people on the island send their kids to, because
Best education in town.
it's the best education in town. Yeah. And there are actual qualified teachers, and then there's college students who get sent to teach, and that's their mission work for a year.
And then there's the Mormon 2-year mission, which is standard at 18.
And the Mormon mission is go to somewhere for 2 years to knock on doors.
My mind boggles at the missionaries who get sent to places like Idaho Falls, Eastern
Yeah.
Idaho, which is just a suburb of Salt Lake. It's like, but what? Nobody wants to hear from you. They're either a part of your ward or have absolutely no interest. Go someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Still see them though.
and mission work often can be highly successful. If you look at demographic trends right now with religion in places like Central and South America, Pentecostalism is growing like crazy.
Yeah. Emphasis on crazy.
And that is being spread through these mission trips and other missionary efforts, where you'll have a pastor or a layperson decide that, he feels called to Argentina and raises money to go to Argentina, and then does mission work in Argentina, and then flies home to go preach at a bunch of places about the work he's doing in Argentina and get more money to go back to Argentina for another year.
Really, I think it's just a way for people to live in places like Costa Rica and Guatemala and the Caribbean. They're just having a good time.
That's some of it.
They're like, I'm just waiting for retirement at this point.
That is some.
They're expats.
And
Of course, I wouldn't blame them either. That sounds nice.
And of course, these all greatly overlap. Apologetics will get pulled into evangelism in places that are typically better educated or more skeptical. You'll have most mission work, but not all, will include evangelism.
Yeah, I'd say if you're a breakout atheist, the best thing you can do is learn the basic logical fallacies and basic debate.
Mm-hmm.
That gets tiresome after a while. When you don't know that stuff, it gets really exhausting, because you're out. You're out of your depth, talking with another person, and it's just like, I'm just gonna walk away now. It'll be fun to engage. No, don't engage. Disengage.
All right. We've got a lot of news.
Oh, goody. Yeah, we kind of skipped news last week.
Monsignor Jeffrey Burrill was the General Secretary of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops.
Okay. Oh, okay.
In July,
Wait, let me guess. He fucked a dude or he fucked a boy?
he got fired.
Oh,
Or no, he got forced out.
okay.
So obviously it was a consenting adult.
Okay.
This is the Catholic Church we're talking about. They don't fire people for having sex with children, just for having sex with consenting adults.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They transfer people who have sex with children. They fire people who have sex with
They
adults.
try to hide
Yep.
the criminal,
Yep.
and they try to get rid of the not criminal but staining. That's too bad.
So what happened to him is pretty horrific. An outside group started offering Catholic publications dirt on priests and bishops.
Like a little self-publishing group of people, or what do you mean?
The Catholic News Agency was the first one that was approached. They're a pretty big deal
Yeah.
within the Catholic space on sharing church
They're
news.
like independent, quote-unquote, journalists who are trying to sell dirt on people?
No.
Okay.
No, this is dirtier than that.
Oh.
These are data brokers.
Oh, gross.
Dirty data brokers.
Dirty.
So when the Catholic News Agency refused the offer, a Catholic website called The Pillar apparently accepted the offer.
Oh.
And what they got were commercially available records from his cell phone. Not anything stolen from his cell phone. Commercially available data from tracking of his cell phone.
So is this public data, or is this...
It's public if you pay for it, because your carrier will sell all of your data.
Oh, yeah.
Your ISP will sell all of your data.
Yeah.
A bunch of different companies will sell anything and everything they've got for the right price. And so they sell to these data brokers who then,
Blackmail.
in this case, will use it for blackmail.
Nice.
So they had tracked all the information on his phone pinging, his phone being tracked by the carrier at gay bathhouses on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
They had exact data of him pinging Grindr servers from the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops headquarters building.
Hot. No, that's gross.
And a bunch of other
He's obviously
areas.
This is nothing that any man, typical male, doesn't actually do, of course. But because he's a Catholic priest, sorry.
He worked for the bishops.
He works for the bishop.
He was the general secretary
There we
for
go.
the bishops.
Okay. But yeah, because he was a priest, he's not allowed to do that.
They had found near daily Grindr data for 2018, 19, and 2020.
Well, that doesn't mean he was fucking every day.
No,
it means
it
he
doesn't.
went on the app.
It means he was on the app almost every day.
Yeah.
From his office and home.
Swipe.
And they actually had had location data for both at his physical office building and his church-owned residence.
It's sad because, the part of me is like, well, fuck him. So, whatever. But the other part of me is like, this is just an average citizen. Not everybody expects to know or have to use a burner phone to hook up. But if your job depends on it, I guess that's what you have to do now. This is pathetic.
Yeah. This is...
That your personal business can cause you to lose your job, lose
Uh-huh.
all sorts of stuff. There's a certain veil of privacy assumed with cell phones that doesn't actually exist. And this just goes to show that not only does it not exist, but it can fetch quite the price.
Yeah.
So people are more than willing to buy it.
Yeah. Even if you run a de-Googled Android phone that is fully hardened, your carrier is still tracking everything.
Hard. Yeah.
Even if you are running a VPN, your carrier is still tracking your location.
Yeah. This is why privacy people tend to jump into the paranoid burner phone spy montage thing pretty quickly. Because there's no safety.
Right. If he had done...
It's so big that you basically have to just accept it to move on. And hope that you never get busted for anything.
Except...
Big Brother is watching you.
There is a chance that everyone has already been affected by this.
Yeah.
It's affecting job applications.
Yeah, those background checks that you assume are just checking your driver's license and credit status. No, they're checking a lot more than that.
They're just getting this information from the data brokers.
And the data brokers apparently can get everything.
Yeah, they're willing to pay because they keep getting paid.
Yeah.
And as long as employers and Facebook and Google and other advertisers keep paying for all this information, they're going to keep gathering all the information.
Yeah.
Well, also, as long as the people on the gathering side are still selling it, the brokers will continue to
That's where it needs to be
collect.
stopped.
Yeah.
Is we need to be, legislatures need to be stopping ISPs from selling that data in the first place. Because there's always going to be somebody there to buy it. And then there will still be ways to get it even after it's banned. But it needs to be banned first.
Right. And it's not just a concern
There's more privacy laws going in. It's just not enough.
There are, and they're not addressing these particular issues. As long as this kind of data is available, anybody who wants to pay the money can get the information on anyone. It's there. That includes stalkers.
Or future boss.
Or your future boss, or a journalist who wants to take out a particular priest.
Or, a journalist who wants to take out a priest is not one I was expecting to see, but there you go.
Yeah.
Go for the pedophiles and leave the consenting adults alone.
Right.
Kind of is my mentality there. But,
yeah.
That's a lot harder to do, I guess.
D. James Kennedy Ministries, which was formerly called Truth in Action, which is no longer run by D. James Kennedy because he died, sued the Southern Poverty Law Center over it calling D. James Kennedy Ministries an active anti-LGBT hate group.
Ouch. Not a good label to have.
No.
This society is all about labels. That is not a good label.
And that is a label that you get if you
do something bad or threaten to do something bad.
Yeah. This label does come with actual financial costs. If you had signed up as a Amazon Smile charity, being declared a hate group makes you ineligible for that.
Good.
Because Amazon doesn't want to support hate groups.
Yay. Something to their, I guess.
In the lawsuit, they claimed that there's nothing hateful about them, that they just preach.
They just preach
the good news. And they claimed that they're being called a hate group just because they support biblical morals and principles concerning human sexuality.
Supporting one is different. Denying the other is a little bit worse. If you're heterosexual, it's pretty easy just to stay heterosexual.
What gets the Southern Poverty Law Center to use the hate group label, particularly for the religious right, is describing LGBT people as perverts with filthy habits who seek to snatch children of straight parents and convert them to gay sex.
Whoa, what? That ain't in the Bible.
And disseminating disparaging facts about gay people that are untrue.
Yeah, that'll get you labeled pretty quick.
Things that they compare to the old white intellectual writings about the bestial black man and his threatening sexuality. That's why it's the Southern Poverty Law Center who is taking this on. They have experience with looking at hate groups.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
I was actually just wondering that.
It has always been, demonizing sex has always been a tool of hate. The early Jewish blood libel, and even before that, Roman anti-Jewish sentiments, was often centered around an idea that Jews were raping and killing children.
Gee.
And eating them.
That's so fucked up.
The witch hunts were, a lot of that was, the thoughts were that these women were raping, killing, and eating children. The Satanic Panic was the same exact thing. These hate groups don't just condemn homosexuality. They claim that homosexuality is about preying on children.
God, it's like that QAnon shit.
Yeah.
I was in a fucking psych ward for a weekend. The only thing that actually got me upset was when one guy started going off on the QAnon baby eating, raping stuff. And at that point, I literally got up and said, I'm out. I'm like, you know what? I've heard a lot of stories of this, while I've been here, and this is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Drop the mic on your way out. Kind of just, I'm out. It's been around for a long time. The children. Think of the children.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these far right-wing Christian quote-unquote ministries are being labeled as hate groups.
Well, if you start talking about a group of people as if they're less than human, that makes you anti-human rights.
Yep.
You're gonna get slammed for that these days.
Yeah,
And I get it. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that you can deny another person basic human rights. Just like that, you wouldn't want them denying you basic human rights. It's to each their own, literally. That's a hard concept to understand, apparently, today in society.
A specific example that Southern Poverty Law Center has used to describe Kennedy's ministry is recommending as essential the work of R.J. Rushdoony, who advocated for executing gay men. And in a 1989 edition of a Coral Ridge Ministries newsletter, Kennedy had photographs of children with the tagline, "Sex with children? Homosexuals say yes."
Yeah.
He did that for a long time. His organization is continuing to spread that same sentiment.
Good.
That is hate.
Yep. So they need to suffer the consequences. Good job.
So I remember the exact moment that I stopped considering myself a Republican. It was in 2008.
Tumultuous times.
When John McCain announced the subject of this next story as his running mate.
Oh, no.
Sarah Palin
Ugh. All right.
told the New Apostolic Reformation Church's leader, Che On, that she would run for the U.S. Senate if God wants her to.
Okay. He doesn't. Somebody just let her know.
Then Prophet Cindy Jacobs prayed over Palin and declared that God is raising up an army of pastors and intercessors that will take her all the way to the top. And
fuck, is it sad that I actually prefer her over Trump?
And Mike Pompeo also spoke at the same event.
Oh, God, they had all of them there, huh?
On the leader of this group.
Did you say prophet?
Prophet Cindy Jacobs. Self-identified prophet. Yeah.
That's never a good sign.
No. Che On, the leader of this New Apostolic Reformation, was at a Stop the Steal rally in Washington, D.C. the day before the insurrection.
Okay.
Where he said, quote, "I believe that this week we're going to throw Jezebel out and Jehu's going to rise up and we're going to rule and reign through President Trump and under the lordship of Jesus Christ."
Well, gee, isn't that a little telling?
And this is somebody who's trying to get Sarah Palin to run for Senate.
Throw Jezebel out?
Throw Jezebel out and put in Palin.
Okay, well, he was obviously referring to Kamala Harris.
It might have been Pelosi.
Or Pelosi. Actually, any woman. Because that's a sexist term that you use for pretty much any women that you don't like, that are uppity.
Yeah.
Guess who's uppity? Good old Palin. So many porn. So many porn movies based off of her. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nailin' Palin. Oh God. She needs to. But like I said, she's actually better than what we've got here in Idaho, or at least on par. We've got a couple uppity women here that are downright insane.
Palin has kept a low enough profile.
She hasn't offended me recently.
That I have no way of knowing if she's still old school crazy or Janice McGeechan crazy.
Or or Heather Scott crazy.
Yeah.
Phyllis Giddings crazy. So many cray-crays.
Yeah.
Cray-cray for JJs.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Dude, uppity white women. They need to chill the fuck down, I say, as a very lazy white woman. Not uppity at all.
Yeah. So, yep, if people pray enough and give enough money, prayer and money.
Send those prayers on Facebook.
Yeah.
I keep telling Dustin I want to get in on that. I want to have listeners send us their prayers. That would be freaking hilarious, to whatever deity you think symbolizes us best.
That's what you meant by that.
Mm-hmm. And then we could have the little prayer Facebook thing.
We'd have to create a group.
We could be a religious group. of non-religiosity. It's my firmly held non-religious belief that we are.
That would require spending more time on Facebook.
I could do it, but I can't do it. Where's our social media person? Where the hell did that go?
It didn't happen.
Wasn't that like 3 years ago we were going to get somebody?
Oh, several times I've
I feel like an old lady trying to use a smartphone for the first time. Where's my nephew? He knows how to use this crap.
Scott Lively used an episode of his weekly prophecy and politics live stream to warn that if genuine patriots don't regain control over the country in the 2022 midterm elections, that it will result in, quote, some kind of violent insurrection and armed rebellion.
If it does, don't tie yourself to it before the fact. That's criminal. Idiot.
He gave himself the out.
Oh.
If Republicans don't win in 2022, then they all just need to disconnect from the grid, go underground, and escape the tyranny that Biden and the Democrats will impose on the country.
Okay.
Prophecy and politics.
Yep.
Those things don't
good.
go well together.
No, they don't.
But if the furthest right-wing crazies want to disconnect from the grid
Go underground.
and go underground, go for it.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Sounds great.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, if all these prophets would just go underground, that'd be great. Prepare for the apocalypse.
You know exactly where they'd end up. They'd end up somewhere on public land, setting fires or something stupid, and the state would have to go in and sweep them out.
All right, they need to start. Somebody needs to create the
Pirate Island.
the ground B&B instead of the Airbnb
Oh, nice.
for the
Nice.
off-grid Mormon bunker rentals.
There you go. There's a lot of those out there.
Yeah, get the Mormon bunkers, the old Cold
Sure,
War
Nevada
bunkers.
is covered in them. Do it. Ground B&B. $1 million idea, man.
Mm-hmm.
In dark money.
Cryptocurrency only.
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, you mean?
Dogecoin.
It tanked.
Aw. That's all right. There's always GameStop.
A 35-year-old Kentucky woman went to Buffalo Central Terminal in New York, which had been a major train hub for 50 years until it was closed in 1979. Now it's more of a tourist attraction, presumably not the kind you should actually be going to, because while she was there,
Condemned.
without authorization to be in the building, she fell 20 feet through a substation roof. What was she doing there? Hunting ghosts.
Yep. Yeah, that's big problem with paranormal activities on TV and stuff. It's
Ghost Hunters
yep.
has been to this train station, which has made it a tourist attraction, not for train enthusiasts, but for people looking for ghosts.
Wait, what train station is this?
Buffalo Central Terminal.
So if it is what I think it is. It should be beautiful. Like the building and architecture and stuff.
It looks like it was.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Looks like a beautiful wedding venue. Here's a reconstructed video of or a picture of what the inside would have looked like.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
Knock it off.
If you're going to look for ghosts, keep it safe and don't go places you're not authorized to be. That's often for good reasons.
Yeah.
Especially if it's an old building. Yeah, I don't know if this is actually a completely shut down building or not. But still, don't go where you're not authorized in old buildings.
Even if they are super Art Deco and beautiful.
Those restrictions are for good reasons. Oh, and
They're trying to renovate it now.
Also don't go where you're not authorized in a building that is being renovated.
Yep.
She was injured, but did not, but just injured.
Okay, good. So that's could have ended much differently.
Yeah. So a study in the Journal of Psychology of Religion and Spirituality was looking at how people discriminate against atheists. And this is not the same study as we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
In this one, they were looking at expressions of belief in the workplace.
Oh.
And what they found, actually across 3 different studies, is that people are less likely to allow or say that they would allow an atheist to have any kind of belief-related display in the workplace than they would a Christian, Muslim, or Jew.
They wouldn't let them?
Yeah.
Okay, so they can't wear a little dainty chain with a little thing around their neck saying not religious?
What they found...
With the little atheist symbol, American Atheist A. Oh, hell, I actually have earrings that are like that.
I have a tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically in a place that is not visible at work.
Yeah.
Because, what they found is that people view religious displays of believers as personal expressions of their belief. They view any kind of display of atheism as an offensive attack on their own belief.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah.
And that's the whole persecution complex. How dare you even exist in my space? You're making me feel threatened. It's like, but I'm not threatening you. That's how I met a good friend at a job before, is I managed to track down the other person in the parking lot who had an American Atheist sticker on their car. We became good friends.
Yeah. Now, I've actually used this kind of discriminatory attitude to get somebody to stop wearing his WWJD necklace at work. No, it was God's Army of One dog tag. That's what it was.
Oh,
he had one of those. And this was, around 2009, 2010.
Well, I take issue with people wearing dog tags that aren't real.
Yeah. So I just approached him and I was just like, I'm not going to tell you can't wear it, but how would you feel if I wore something like that said there are no gods? He tucked it under his shirt. And I never saw it again.
Yeah. So you used it against him.
I used it against him.
Okay. That's really sad.
I didn't know this.
That worked.
I obviously didn't know about this research because it hadn't been done. I knew at a subconscious level that expressions of atheism are people find to be attacking. Well,
that's because in a 1-0 system, atheists and people who don't show any religious preference are at a 0 and religious are at a 1, and you're either the 1 or 0. As soon as you become the 0, as soon as they realize you are part of that group, you are the enemy group. You're not just copacetic anymore.
And the people who try to exist in the gray zone between the two, if it's a conservative believer, they'll round you down to 0. If it's a liberal believer, they'll round you up to 1.
Yeah. So people do it with sexuality all the time.
Yeah.
You're 0. Well, as soon as you become a 1, all of a sudden you are able to assume all sorts of things about the person. That's why that people don't like displays of gay pride, because that means that that's a person admitting to enjoying sex. Well, what kind of person enjoys sex and flaunts it? How dare they? It's like a personal attack on anybody who doesn't actually enjoy sex. It's like, no, that's not how that works. There's a gray zone there.
Yeah. And one of the things that was a little surprising in this study was they found, of course, Christians are going to be cool with other Christians displaying their Christianity.
Yeah.
That was expected. They saw that Christians were almost always accepting of Jews expressing their Judaism. They found a smaller group, but still most Christians were accepting of Muslims displaying their Islamic faith, just not atheists.
Yeah. Yeah, that's everybody has to go through that in their younger days. You think, okay, I'm finally comfortable enough to be able to just say, drop in conversation, oh yeah, well, I don't actually believe in that. Not realizing the repercussions that can hold for your standing at work or with friends or whatnot. That sticks with people, and it's a grudge that people cannot let go.
Yeah. Well, and you also find it at a lot of...
we have to fight to normalize it.
Yeah. You'll find in a lot of systems that do record religion, like hospital admissions.
Yeah.
That most of them don't have an atheist option.
No.
There's none.
Yeah.
You're a 0.
You're a 0.
Or you get to pick.
Yeah.
You don't get to specify which if you're in the 0 category.
Yeah, they don't have anti-theist either, but...
Right, which you'd think that would be useful information.
Maybe. It's no more useful than having to write down your religion in the first place for a blood draw.
True.
Fucking idiots.
But the
I don't need a chaplain for, a colonoscopy. Please don't ask.
yeah. And they don't ask for a blood draw.
No, I was extrapolating for
Yeah.
humorous purposes.
ER visit, they do.
ER, many most outpatient procedures.
Yeah.
Anything that they can say you could die.
Yep.
What chaplain do you want at your side?
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
And the nun option theoretically tells them fair game for any of them.
Not nobody.
That's technically what that means.
Or, a secular counselor.
Yeah.
Secularist should be on there.
Yeah.
That covers a bunch.
Send the social worker instead.
Yes. That's a good idea. Who do I need to talk to get that to happen? Secularist.
In Colorado, a atheist man named Mark Janney served his time in prison, made parole, and was assigned to a parole officer who had a deal with the local gospel rescue mission.
Boo. Which in some cases is the only rescue homeless shelter that there is available.
The rescue mission idea is these are horrible, broken people that need saving and rescuing, and the only way to do that is by bringing them to Jesus.
Yeah.
That's why they use the word rescue, not shelter. And so per the rules of parole, he had to live at the address assigned to him by the parole officer. He had no choice in the matter. So when the parole officer told him he had to live at this shelter, he had to go to the Gospel Rescue Mission. When he got to the Gospel Rescue Mission, he was informed that he had to attend the morning and evening worship services and Bible study groups and Christian counseling sessions and pastoral visitations and on and on and on.
All of the crap.
He's an atheist. He did not want to take part in any of that, so he asked for alternative housing. And he was told he can either live there or go back to prison.
Yeah, because if you're not living there, you violate your parole.
So he stayed at the address he had to stay at, refused to attend the services that he legally could not be compelled to attend, and they kicked him out, so he went back to prison.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Where he sued in federal court.
Yay!
The judge dismissed his case, and he was representing himself in that
Doesn't
initial...
make any sense. Why would any judge... unless they were in on it.
No standing.
Oh, I hate
Just
that.
determined no standing. Prisoners don't have rights. Convicted felons don't have rights.
Such bullshit.
So by the time that got dismissed, this got the attention of Americans United and the ACLU and a local law firm.
Nice.
Who all joined up together to appeal the dismissal at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, which made it very clear that he has standing. This case absolutely has merit, and it must go to trial.
Yeah. Does it go back to the same judge?
It has to go back to the same judge.
That's messed up.
That is the system.
I know, but that's just this. The judge already shows bias in this case. But, maybe having actual lawyers will help.
Oh,
and the ACLU.
The reason why he would have been denied, the case would have been thrown out, is he did get back out 5 months later. So he's not currently being forced to live in this place or
that happens a lot with
prison.
People who have kids in school that age out of school.
Yeah.
And they're still fighting for something that happened to them in their senior year.
Yep.
No standing. It's like, what? But this happened. It's like, no standing. It didn't happen to them now. It's not currently happening.
Yeah. And
that's stupid.
If it takes 5 years to get through the court system, but it only takes 4 years to get through high school, it's impossible.
Yeah. It's set up to fail.
Yeah. So that's good news. The case is going to actually go forward.
And he's out of prison.
He's not in prison.
Hooray. I don't know what he was in for, but at least he didn't deserve to be stuck in prison for that.
I don't either, and I don't care.
Right. That's what else.
Yeah, we have a system where these missions, which are inherently
xenophobic,
patriarchal, horrible,
misogynistic,
disgusting pieces of shit organizations.
Yeah.
That are trying to prey on the most vulnerable. For a government agent to be compelling citizens to take part in those organizations.
Oh, you PO officers are pieces of shit. No offense to any PO officers out there who are doing a good job, but
Yeah.
that abuse of power is really easy to start riding high on.
Yeah. And I don't remember if I'd even
The only PO I ever knew was a piece of shit. So
I don't know if
bias there.
I don't know if this particular story I'm thinking of was before we started the show or if it was one of our earliest stories we talked about. But there was a case locally in Boise where people were given the choice of taking part in Pentecostal-run AA services or go to jail for minor drug charges and DUIs and the like. And what they ended up finding was the drug court judge, the sheriff, the district attorney, and of course the people running all these programs that they were referring people to were all Pentecostals.
Yeah. So no harm, no foul to them. They just think that they're doing the right thing.
They're doing God's work, not the state's work.
Yeah.
So when there was a lawsuit over that, it was very much pointed out, you're not supposed to be doing God's work. You're supposed to be doing the state's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foo Fighters, for the second time, has had the Westboro Baptist Church picket one of their concerts.
Oh, congrats, Foo Fighters. That's a badge of honor.
And both times, the band's response was to go steal the protest. In 2015, the first time this happened, they pulled up in a pickup that was playing Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
Never gonna give you up. Never.
And turned the Westboro Baptist Church rally into, or protest into a dance party.
They rickrolled them.
They rickrolled the Westboro Baptist Church.
I freaking love it.
So Thursday, last week, what they did was Dave Grohl showed up singing You Should Be Dancing from the bed of a pickup.
Oh my God, I love it. It's not as classic as a Rickroll, but that's kind of dated now.
Yeah.
I think he should have done it. He should have done another Rickroll. Let's keep it going. Except for then you end up people picketing them just for hoping to get a Rickroll.
Oh, getting a Rickroll from Foo Fighters. That'd
be pretty freaking awesome.
Cool.
Even people at the Westboro Baptist Church would be like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And for a heartwarming kind of also sad. Anyway, Pastor George Davis of the Impact Church in Jacksonville, Florida, is begging his church members to get vaccinated.
Oh, that's opposite of what we've been hearing lately.
Yeah. He has been trying to lead his church correctly and properly through the pandemic, following all guidelines and recommendations on doing virtual services early on, and then how to do limited seating services with masks and distancing and all of that. And in a 10-day time span, he had 6 members of his church die of. He's now had 7 members of his church die of COVID-19.
Sucks.
The youngest was 25. He knows that none of them contracted it at church services, in part because they were actually following all the protocols in the services.
Right.
Granted, holding church services during a pandemic is questionable at best in the first place, but they were trying to do it right and have found that in all of these cases, it was contracted outside of the church in their daily lives. And he's been getting phone calls every day with people telling him about family members with COVID-19.
Yeah, that gets old fast. But apparently not old enough for a bunch of the population. Because we still have people who won't. We're having breakthrough bad right now, and people just don't. Man, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. Yes, there are breakthrough cases happening where people who are vaccinated are getting COVID. There are also cases of people who are not vaccinated going to the hospital.
Dying of
COVID. Younger and younger people dying in hospitals.
Why won't anyone think of the children?
And here we are in the 4th wave, and
nobody's thinking of the children. Actually, no, that's not true. A lot of people are. But there's always a subset of people who are just being selfish or can't do it. There's those people too. they physically can't get the shot and they're stuck in the crossfire. That sucks, but that's not their fault. But yeah, heck, if you never know, you may be scheduled to get the vaccine next week and it may not be soon enough. You've got to get on that.
Yep. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
I have 2 family members who have tested positive for COVID. One was a couple days before her second dose of the vaccine, and the other one was ill the day she was supposed to get her first shot. If you haven't gotten vaccinated, don't wait. The numbers are rising. Prevalence is high. Hospitals are filling up.
I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt, not call you an asshole for it.
Yeah, just do it now.
You just, okay, fine. Whatever the reason was, the past is the past.
Yep.
Go do it now. School's about to start. A whole lot of people are about to get sick, and even more people who are not vaccinated are about to die.
Yeah.
Children are disease vectors. Did you know that? Their grubby little paws are just covered in germs all the time. Snotty little nose face.
And I know,
man.
And I know every.
I want to make Kylie a shirt that says my little disease vector, but it seems too soon. Like,
yeah.
And it has
wait till she's in kindergarten.
Well, we'll have to see if it's still around.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Well, it's been 3 years and it's still too soon.
But yeah, every area is in its own point in the cycle on this wave. But with the Delta variant, what we're seeing here, at least across the Northwest, is pretty consistently in the areas that had bad waves in January. Well, last winter, that has started already. We're several months ahead of that and headed to that same kind of territory. And in the areas that weren't hit very hard, then the smaller towns, they're getting it now and getting it bad. So, yeah, get vaccinated if you haven't. If you have, thank you. All right, I don't have any feedback or new supporters. So if you want to contact the show, you can find out how at atheistnomads.com/donate.
No, that's not right. I mean, you can contact us in ways other than sending us money, but
if you want to contact the show, you can use the feedback form or the SpeakPipe button on the website, or send us an email at feedback@atheistnomads.com. If you want to support the show, you can find out how at atheistnomads.com/donate.
There we go.
And next week, we will be on vacation.
Whoop, whoop. In 63-degree weather.
Yeah.
On the beach.
Trying our best.
Because it's the fucking Oregon coast.
Yeah.
Nobody goes there to get warm.
It'll be nice.
It'll be nice.
So no episode next week.
And please send us your prayers.
We will be back the next. But remember, not all those who wander are lost. But hopefully next week we will be. Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Atheist Nomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.